I think if even Instagram itself is stuck. Hello. Yeah, welcome back, friends. Welcome back. Yeah. Now you can hear me. The screen is fine. Yes, I think if the other window comes, it is problem. Fine. Good evening, guys. Good evening. Good afternoon. Yes, yeah. Can you hear
Okay,
us now?
fine. Yeah, finally.
Fine. Now it's fine.
Yeah.
Finally, fine. Yeah. So welcome to Insta Chat with Radhya Bojan. So really nice to see you, have you here.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me.
Okay. So how the quarantine time? How you managing? You said you always travel everything. So how I think sitting at home, how you are managing?
Well, not actually been sitting at home because Singapore, I think, has done a relatively good job in kind of containing the virus.
Okay.
So we have strict guidelines as to where we can go, where we cannot go. For example, if you want to go grocery shopping in the supermarket, only 10 people are allowed into the shop at one time.
Oh, okay. So, that's good. Okay.
So the last 1 month, I've been working on a small project with the national parks here in Singapore.
Okay.
So we have a centenary celebration coming up soon with national parks.
Wow. Okay.
So we've been doing some drone shots of all the national parks within Singapore for like an exhibition.
So really, you are busy then.
Kind of, but
we guys are locked down really, and my Bhutan trip all cancelled, postponed. We can't postpone also. I don't know when. We don't know when the situation will be good. And Tamil Nadu is going to be really, day by day, the cases are increasing. Next to Maharashtra, situations are, I thought this week it will be fine. But now only even I felt little bit afraid. I am little bit afraid. We have to be very careful.
And, my parents are in Coimbatore right now. So I've been talking to them every day. So they're also a little worried. So
Coimbatore is also danger list. More cases. Guys. Whoever joining me lately, let me introduce Mr. Jayaprakash Bojan from Singapore, a National Geographic Award winner, and not only awards, he had great body of work. Okay, and today we are going to talk to him and ask him all the interesting questions. And I just please say hi, and we'll start. Jayaprakash.
Sure. Hello everybody. First of all, thank you, ma'am, for inviting me for your Insta Live. I'm not very tech savvy myself, so this is actually my first Insta Live session ever in my life.
Wow! So, thank you. I'm honored. You know what? This is the first time I am a social media person. I have 10-year-old Facebook page, and I'm more than 6 years I am in Instagram. But I never felt I want to come live. But this is the time I thought, let me invite my friends and to chit chat with them to give some interesting tips to our viewers and fans. No. So Mr. Kalyan Verma is also says he is coming first time, and you also coming first time. I'm really honored. And just tell us about yourself, Bojan. Though I know, but for viewers, no, your small background about you.
Sure. So I know I'm living in Singapore right now. Moved here about approximately 4.5 years ago. But then I born and brought up in the Nilgiris, Tamil Nadu. I belong to a village called Nanjanad village. I'm a Badaga boy from Tamil Nadu.
Dotta betta boy.
Yes. Yeah. So grew up there.
You know Tamil.
Yeah, I can speak Tamil very well.
Then just said vanakkam to, since only one vanakkam to our Chennai people and Tamil Nadu people. Yeah. Okay.
But you know, the thing is, Appa he was in the army.
Okay.
So every 3 years we used to get transferred. So I spent a lot of time in like Chandrapur, Nagpur, Pune.
That's great.
Even Chennai and all those places. So every 3 years I used to switch to a new school.
Wow. Okay.
Just when you feel you just made some friends and you settle down, it's time to move on to another place.
And just small thing, because of this, my father was in army. Same thing. He used to travel all over India, but my mother was a teacher. So he said, at least let us study one place. So I always stay with my mother. Only holidays we go like that.
Okay.
Anyway, please tell us about yearly your days. You actually, I saw your bio. You are in the corporate world.
Yes, ma'am.
You're
So
working
I spent almost close to 19 years on the corporate world.
19 years. That's a quite long years.
Yeah,
Okay.
really long time. I'm actually a
Okay.
very late starter, I should say, if you're talking about doing photography professionally.
Photography. But
Yeah.
you have,
So
as a hobby, you are doing any photography before?
yeah, as
As a
a
hobby
hobby,
photo.
I think it's probably 10 plus years.
Wow. Okay.
Somewhere in 2013 is when I kind of got hooked onto it and I started taking it a little more seriously. I
Okay.
remember
So,
I used to live in Bangalore.
okay.
So there are a lot of lakes in Bangalore.
Okay.
So I think I was crazy like so many other people. Every morning I used to go, just shooting everything I could see, right from,
Okay.
but mostly birds,
Birds. Yeah.
mostly birds. And I think at somewhere I had seen one of my inspirations has been people like Giri Kawale, Jayant Sharma. I think I remember seeing one of Giri Kawale's shot of a lion coming out of the grass. Just the face of the lion outside the grass
Oh,
from
yes, yes.
Africa.
Okay, okay, okay.
So I think for me it was one of those iconic images. I was so impressed. I remember having it on my desktop for a long time.
Okay. Oh, that's
And then I had
okay. Yeah, well, hobby, it's okay that you inspired. But what
correct.
made you change that you want to leave your job and fully shifted to photography?
But yeah,
Yeah.
so I think nature and me, I think it was very easy for me. It was a kind of a natural progression for me. One,
Okay.
because I grew up in Nilgiris. My grandfather was a very well-to-do farmer. So I think I spent a lot of my childhood with my grandfather in the fields, taking cows to the fields. I used to
Okay.
spend hours in this little water body. I didn't know the difference between a fish and tadpoles.
Okay, okay.
I thought all the tadpoles were fish. So I used to spend hours trying to catch tadpole in a little bottle and bring back home with my grandfather. So
Okay.
kind of grew in an atmosphere like that. So I think it was a
Okay.
natural progression. But I think photography, obviously those days it was not affordable for somebody like me because I moved from there. I think somewhere in 2012. Around 2008, 2009, I moved to Bangalore. I was in Hyderabad
Okay.
for a while working with GE. Then I think I started serious photography with a Sony Alpha 38 or something. I think that was the
Okay.
beginning of when initially Sony launched their
Okay, okay.
series.
Yes, yes.
And then I wanted to buy a longer lens. I had to save up money to buy a longer lens. Eventually, when I wanted to buy a longer lens, I think Sony had just launched their 100-400 G series lens, and it was
Okay.
not available in India those days because not many people were using
Yes,
Sony
yes.
cameras those days. So I remember paying for it and I waited for 9 months before they got me the
Okay.
lens.
Wow. Okay. Anyway.
I think somewhere in late 2013, one of my friends actually dragged me to a photo workshop with Jayant Sharma. It was like a classroom workshop.
Wow. Okay. You're a student of Jain Sarma.
Yeah, in
Great.
a way, I mean, I have to, give some respect to these guys because I think there are so many people who inspired me. I
Yes.
mean, definitely they were the first few. And I remember seeing his shots from Pantanal and some of these shots, and I was like completely blown away.
Okay.
So those are some of the inspirations. But then I think after that, I started getting some better equipment. I started spending more time. I used to spend days just chasing the common kingfisher in one of those lakes.
Everyone does. Everyone does. Yeah. And it's really, I'm happy to hear, Bojan, because you said you're inspired from Jain Sarma and Giri Kawale. Whenever Indian or any photographer ask who inspired, they will, of course, they will tell other foreign photographers' names, maybe. And it's good to hear my contemporary, my friends, both of them I know. And it's really pleasure to they inspired you. And you become National Award winner 2017, Net Geo. And congratulations for this. Anyway, late
Thank you,
congratulations.
ma'am.
I think I already said congratulations those days.
Yeah,
But still,
yeah.
we are meeting now. Officially, I'm congratulating you. So, do you think because of your award, Artacon getting noticed suddenly? My newsfeed, I'm seeing lot of photographers going Borneo and getting photographs. Is it because of you got award? Suddenly, everyone is thinking, something is there. Huh?
Well,
Just
kind of. I think
share
at
your
least.
views.
Yeah, probably yes. I think probably I'm one of the few people who did some serious Indian photographers who did some
Okay.
serious work in the Borneo space. And obviously, I have a bigger network in India than in any other country. Or lately, the US and UK and stuff like that. But otherwise, so I think after I did a lot of series, so I did a lot of photography around Southeast Asia. So almost the top 20, 30 of the most highly endangered primates in the entire world are in Southeast Asia alone.
Yes,
In
yes, I
places like
know.
Cambodia, Laos, Vietnam,
Yes.
Malaysia, and Indonesia.
Yes, yeah.
So at some point, I had already covered all these areas even before I had won my award.
Okay, yeah.
So another person who's played a big role in my life is a guy called Shivang Mehta.
Okay.
So we used to have very serious discussions. So he's been kind of a guide, mentor. So we used to have discussions on the lines as to, it's nice. Okay, we're going around the world, spending a lot of money because photography is obviously not expensive. I mean, obviously it's very expensive.
Yes.
But how do we make our photographs count? How do I do something more seriously that can count? Because photographs have a very small shelf life, right? I mean, yes, people appreciate it, and then tomorrow it's forgotten.
Yes, yes.
So I really wanted to do something more serious with my photography. I wanted my photography to make a difference. I wanted my photography to count. So for a long time, I spent time thinking what I wanted to do, because I didn't want to again go back and start shooting tigers and lions. I mean, not randomly shoot everything that I see. Yeah. I mean, it was nice as a hobby when I started thinking, maybe at some point I want to make this a career.
Yes.
So I think one of my biggest advantages was I'd spent about 18, 19 years on the corporate side. So I think I was generally in a good place, in a financially good place to take a decision like that to switch.
That's good. Yeah, because it gives you courage to do what you want to do. That's some
absolutely
backup. No, that's at
absolutely.
least I want to do that. At least I can have. And still, if we want to go back, also we can go back with experience.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
In fact, a lot of
I would like to tell viewers also, our friends and fans also, Mr. Shivang Mehta is going to be here tomorrow, 5 p.m. So you should not miss also, you can watch you.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And I would like to ask next these things. What is your take on habitat loss for the orangutans, Jayaprakash? Because all the rubber plantations, I had been in Malaysia and I was talking to a few people, but it's not a real good, happy scenes. So please share your views.
It's a very complicated situation there. The reason I say complicated situation there is, first I want to start by saying, I know a lot of us talk about conservation. There's a lot of discussion about conservations everywhere. Sometimes when we see some sad pictures online, we start saying, the humans are bad, humans are destroying. So I think the fact is, when you actually go spend time in these places, I've spent a lot of time there, and when you talk to the locals, talk to the villagers, so I always felt if we cannot fix the people problems, it's very difficult to do conservation or save the earth, right?
Yes.
So
agreed.
Yeah, so it's a very tricky situation. For example, in places like Malaysia and Indonesia, almost 40-50% of their whole country's economy depends on palm oil.
Yeah, understood.
So just imagine if we had to just stop all of the palm oil in that country. Basically, you're saying a few million people with no jobs, no food, So it's a very tricky situation even for the governments over there.
Understood, yeah.
But I think lately there's a lot of enforcement in terms of sustainable palm oil. There are some guidelines, rules, regulations as to how palm oil needs to be produced. But I think right now a lot of good things are also happening. I think a lot of corporates, because it's the corporates actually which can make a difference, right? I mean,
definitely.
You go to any shop, you pick up any biscuit, any chocolate, you pick up Good Day, you pick up Nutella, everything has palm oil.
Yes.
So technically it's impossible to say, okay, from tomorrow there will be no palm oil, right? So it's a complicated situation, but I think more and more organizations have come to realize the importance of rainforests and
Anyway, it's good to hear from you this view, Bojan, because you are there. We do hear just simply other news and all. The person who lives there, I got a clear idea now. And there are, I know the primitives 3 different orangutans. Okay.
Correct.
And have you photographed 3 at the Sumatra and
Yeah, so the Bornean
Indonesia?
Sumatran, I only photographed 2 species as of now.
Okay.
The new species, it's a little tricky because that area is a very complicated area. The thing is, over the last 2 to 3 years, places like Indonesia and Malaysia have become very strict.
Very strict.
Because the whole world has been campaigning against palm oil. If you see what's happening right now. So a lot of places, if they see people with cameras, in fact, a lot of people, to the extent some of them even have disappeared.
Okay.
So it's a risky place to go unless you know people there and you have some local support and stuff like that. So in fact, lately I've been going there. Lately I've been trying to get going there with some journalist visa. It's a lot more safer to probably travel there with a journalist visa.
Yes.
I think even a few months ago, one of the journalists was arrested.
Okay.
So they cannot differentiate. So the minute they see a lot of camera equipment and all this stuff, sometimes you could get into trouble. So yeah, that's one area where I have not been. So,
anyway, I hope one day you will cover that also. Because
I'm
auspicious in one person is a big great idea.
I'm working on it. We have some. I've been working with the support of some local NGOs over there. Some really big NGOs there. So we had some projects in the actually pipeline, but I think with the whole COVID issue now.
That's all.
Everything is slow. Probably by and I don't think this COVID issue is going to resolve even in a month or two. Probably
it will take some time. If you ask me, it may take up to June also. I don't know.
Probably.
And let me come next question, Bojan. What are the groundwork you do before the shoot? See, if you're going for hobby, just go there and randomly. If you are getting, it's also fine. If you don't getting, it's also fine. But if you are going for any assignment, any purpose, so what are the preparation you will do before?
Well, if you see over the last 3 years, most of my work has been on foot. So. I've really not done many safari kind of photography. So most of these areas is typically we have to reach there by speedboats or canoes by foot.
Okay.
So a simple example is I remember 2 years ago, it took me almost a year to find somebody who could actually help me get to this Vietnam-China border where there's a rare species of monkey called the token snub monkey.
Okay.
Only about 200 of them are alive there.
Wow. You got them. You photographed them.
I think I spent about 7 days, and I managed to see them one day for like 5 minutes.
Okay.
So I think I got 2 pictures.
2 pictures. But if you just it comes to me other questions. I want to ask. Being in the wild, you said you are going almost in walking only, no safari and all, no? How challenging, is there any scary moment that sometimes, I don't know, what are the precautions you take? Any scary moment you remember?
Scary moments.
How challenging, otherwise I will put it this way, how challenging it will be?
It is challenging because especially Southeast Asia is extremely humid. Extensively infested with mosquitoes, tarantulas, dangerous spiders, snakes, especially on foot.
So what
it's a little
you do,
tricky.
is there anything you use for, we usually go for bedding and almost, what else we usually use? Okay?
Yeah.
Everything and all. Any like this you use also preventing bites?
So sometimes I'm like fully clothed. In severe heat, I'm sometimes completely covered from head to toe. Completely drenched in sweat. But that's probably because very easy to get malaria and dengue in these places if you're not careful. Especially some of the areas, conservation areas, we try and avoid mosquito repellents which have DEET. and use the organic ones, but the organic ones are not actually as
Not
effective
actually
as the
as
one with the DEET.
Okay.
But otherwise I've been attacked by orangutan. I've been slapped on my calf by.
Okay.
I've been slapped on my calf by a black-crested macaque. Yeah, I mean, I remember I spent a week following some black-crested macaques in Sulawesi.
Okay.
I think they were so used to me because every morning to evening we were just there with him.
Okay, guys are what these guys are doing with us, our personal space. They're always a disturbance. No, they will be. See, we as a human, we will be watching. For them also, that too primates and orangutans and all. No, I usually find them very amusing, very interesting to watch both. Instead of photographing is also good. But before the photograph, watching them, they do mostly, I think 85% they behave and they are very intelligent. They behave like intelligent, their interaction with babies and also, lot of, you can see the humanism, little bit. I think
absolutely. So. I completely agree with you. They are very,
not only orangutan, most of the monkeys, if I go any safari and all, no, I told you I am going to call you Mr. Monkey. The reason I want to tell you the small thing, it is I think in 80s and all, there is something called Abrisk Germany pop band. Okay. It's a 3-girl pop band. My father used to love, he's passionate about ABBA and other bands and all. No? So there is one song, usually my house he play, hello, hello, Mr. Monkey, and you are still so fast and funky. That song, so you can even kids also play. My father, that time I'm very young, my father used to say, even I also remember, I usually, without thing, I usually sing. Whenever he posts, I usually sing along with the radio, tape recorder. So whenever I see the monkeys, that song 1 minute will come, okay? And after I going through all the photographs with all the emotions, I thought, okay, this guy is very dear to this, close to these monkeys. Let me call Mr. Monkey. So usually, I love that song. Even you can Google it. Hello, hello.
Sure. Now that you said, I'm going to probably Google that.
Still so fast and funky, yeah. So peppy song. Those days, still I think it works. You can see the lyrics. That's why I called Mr. Monkey in a good way. Mr. Monkey.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm kind of used to. I'm kind of used to it now because a lot of my friends, make fun of me all the time. In fact, a lot of people keep asking me, why you only going after monkeys? What's so special? But I think it's I love shooting monkeys. They're so much like us. It's amazing when you observe some of these species. So like you were just asking, so I think initially when I started, as photographers, usually when we all start it as a hobby, we have this, I call it the fear of missing.
Yes.
So, we're always worried about missing shots. So we're always in a hurry to, just blast away at 12, 15 frames per second to capture as much as possible. But I think it's a journey. I think over a period of time, the more time you spend, I think, now usually, especially working with monkeys, it's a lot easier to capture more emotions, capture action, capture those intimate moments if you actually give them some time. So
yes. You need to spend some time. It's not one day I'm going to shoot orangutan, then you will get only that so time. But to more depth and emotional, some interactive photographs and all, you have to wait and you have to. They know that you are not going to harm them, then definitely they will be okay with you. In my experience, I felt so. That you are not going to harm, then the fear of circular fear will go off, and then it will be easy. And one question I would like to ask Jayaprakash. This usually many people write to me, but you are the best person to answer this question. See, people are usually say, I am working like software, anything. This is 30 to 35 guys, and I don't like my job, and I want to become photographer. Please guide me, And see, if someone is saying, for me, by my view, if someone is saying, even I also left my software. I am a BE computer engineer, MBA, but not many years, little bit I was working, but still, I love photography, I changed. And you love photography, you left job. If someone is coming that I am loving photography, I want to do, then it's fine. But I am getting bored this job, then I want to leave. That option I think is very absurd and it's not a good decision at all. Please share your views and give some advice to the people who want to shift. That I want to leave my job, I am getting bored. Please share your views.
Oh, sure. I mean, I kind of completely agree with you. Well, people may disagree or agree with, but this is purely my based on my experience and my perspective. Because a lot of kids message me and say, "Sir, I want to be a wildlife photographer." There are people who message me and say, "So where can I find a wildlife photographer jobs?" But I just want to tell people. There are no jobs called wildlife photographer jobs anywhere in the world today.
Well,
I mean, even if you talk about Nat Geo, BBC, almost 100% is freelance right now. I think probably 10 years ago, there were a lot of people on the payrolls of, let's say, somebody like a National Geographic doing all the work. Now, pretty much everything is freelance and outsourced. There's really no jobs as such. So I think it will be the wrong reason to do photography because you're bored of your job.
Bored of your job.
I mean, if...
so that's why I want to tell, I do get lot of messages, but for everyone I could reply personally. My suggestion, my request is, guys, please don't leave your job. You can try weekend course and you can try, they want to do wedding photography because wedding photographers are earning very well. I want to do a wedding. Any basic course? No. So first you keep your work, regular work, and try any genre of photography where you're interested. Really, you feel like that I can make it, then you leave a job. Just that also, you really passionate about your work and photography only. Otherwise, it's not an easy job. It's not one month you will be earning, 1 month you will do nothing. So it's not a constant income thing unless until you are a big photographer. So don't take any hasty decision, leaving your job and I want to do photography. That's a wrong decision that you're bored. Please, because this question I was waiting to ask someone, but I know, I usually tell, but this is the best person to ask. And I hope you heard what Mr. Jayaprakash was telling. Okay, guys, and let us go next topic. So what is your take on DSLR video clips first? I think you started that only.
Yeah, I think DSLRs have evolved as good video cameras. So even if you look at somebody like a Netflix, they have an approved list of cameras. Okay. So I think even the Panasonic GH5 and all are approved cameras right now. Okay. And I think until probably 5-6 years ago, some of those cameras were the most used because one, it's obviously cheaper. I mean, the cameras like the Red and the REs and all of them are literally unaffordable for common people like us. Yes, if you're like a beginner in. So I think some of the newer models really does a wonderful job. I mean, I recently purchased a Z-Cam E2. It's a Chinese one. Okay. It's a micro four third camera. I mean, I got it obviously because right now I'm an Olympus user, so I have the whole lot of Olympus lenses. It's a less than $2,000 film camera. It can do 4K 120 FPS, so you can shoot amazing slow motion and all kinds of stuff.
So if anyone wants to do filmmaking, they can try DSLR. That is the advice, right?
Absolutely.
Great.
Definitely.
And next question, you do post-production or you have someone to do that?
My editing abilities are very limited at this point. In fact, last entire month I've been investing a lot of time in improving my editing skills. I've only shot one documentary so far. Obviously on Borneo and the orangutans. Actually, a professor at the National University who teaches filmmaking. So she actually kind of helped me with some edits and stuff like that. But I'm actually in between shooting another documentary on some monkeys in Vietnam. So I thought at least this one I should do it myself because sometimes I think 90% of
But do you sit along with them because you only know which one is what, which one is which one is cut. Otherwise, until you do the director, you want which is important, which is not important. The editor
Absolutely,
is not
absolutely.
in the field, no. It's the best
And
you do. Otherwise, you have to be there with editing. You know, that's
and absolutely.
thing.
Obviously, you have to spend time with them because I think shooting a lot of wildlife footage is not the difficult part.
Okay, okay.
So I think this is my personal experience. I think 90% of the movies are made on the editing table, right? Because
Completely agree. Completely
yeah,
agree.
wildlife
And
movies
before
there are
also, actually, the real thing for pre-production and post-production.
absolutely,
You know,
absolutely,
first
yeah.
also.
Because
And
because I mean, you have a vague idea as to what you're trying to shoot. So, but in the while, you
to
do not
bring into
necessarily,
yes, yes,
yeah,
yes.
you don't always get what you want. So you kind of need
Okay.
to, building the
Building.
story and putting the story together. Yeah. Yeah.
And usually I find, Bojan, already there is always competition among photographers in many situations to get exclusive photograph, exclusive photograph, wildlife photography. So, any advice for the people, new people, how they can be exclusive at the same time being ethical? Because I
Well,
don't want to tell names and I don't want to tell any states and all of people go out of way to get good photograph, being exclusive. So for them, any advice, any suggestion, share
well,
your views.
to be honest, I've always tried to run away from this question because whenever people ask this question, it's a little controversial, I would say,
Controversial. But don't take
controversial.
names, just your views only I'm
Yeah, I
asking.
mean,
Even
yeah,
same
I
thing.
mean,
Even I don't tell directly this guy, this guy. Just generic concept, but
yeah.
at
So
least it helps newcomers. I'm giving advice to the newcomers. People already done, it's done.
well,
Newcomers,
I'll tell you my story. So I think most people can relate to what I'm trying to say. I started like anybody else as a hobby. I think I wanted more people to appreciate my pictures. When I posted a picture on Facebook or on Instagram, I want more people to like my pictures, and that's very human.
yes, yes.
There's no reason to make fun of people who wanting more appreciation. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
So I think, I mean, simple example would be those days if a Giri Kawale or a Jayant Sharma or let's say Sudhir had to like one of my pictures on Facebook, I'll be like on cloud nine. I'm being very honest. It's like wow, it's like celebration for me, and there's nothing wrong with
Still
that,
for
right?
many
Because
new people like
yeah,
this, yeah.
yeah, that's nothing wrong with that because we look up to these people. Most of our learning is visual learning. Most of our learning is through what we see, right? We see
Yes,
amazing
yes.
pictures, then we want to go back and say, hey, you know what? I want to take pictures like that. So I think I've also been on that journey. So there's nothing wrong with wanting, more accolades, more people to like our work. But at the same time, I think when it comes to ethics, the very definition of ethics itself is do the right thing
Changing.
when nobody's seeing you. See, it's
Yes,
very
yes.
easy to do the right thing when you're
no one
being
is seeing.
watched.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
That's
the
good.
very definition of ethics is doing the right thing when nobody's seeing you.
Yeah, for
So I
me,
think
my
this is
views, Bojan, it depends on each photographer. No one's can teach be ethical on wildlife photography. It's all about you only. You have to take care of it. And as a nature photographer, you have to respect your subject and wildlife and all. We are entering the well. It's up to us to where we are drawing the line. Usually, it's my view
absolutely,
as a photographer. It's our duty
absolutely.
to where we are going to draw the line. Whether the photograph is important, whether the animal is important. For me, animal safety is first priority. Photography is secondary because they are not inviting us to take this assignment photo and all. We are going for our happiness and we are going to just say documenting we are coming and all we are going. So we have to respect their privacy and safety also. That's also. And I mentioned somewhere that you are working on climate change for Singapore government, Bojan.
Yes.
Would you like to throw some light because just get an idea what you guys are doing?
Sure. So, I mean, for people who are interested in photography, I think there is more scope outside of wildlife photography because I think
Yes.
wildlife photography is wonderful, but there are a lot of other aspects like what's
Yes,
happening
yes.
with the environment,
Yes.
concepts like sustainability,
Yes,
the
yes, yes.
future of food, a
Yes.
future of water. So all of this falls into the overall scheme of environment, which
Nature, yes.
probably wildlife also is a small
Yes,
part of
yes,
the
yes.
the bigger aspect. Simple example I'll give you. Probably 10 years ago, if you took a picture of some beautiful birds in a dump yard, right? people would look at the picture and say, what a stupid picture, right? Those pictures had no value. But in the current scenario, photos of coexistence, pictures of birds feeding in dustbins, all of a sudden seem to have new value. They have more, they have more monetary
They're like
value than.
coexisting with humans.
Yeah.
Coexisting with humans, there's a new way. Yeah.
So I think photography is evolving. I think now, at least what I'm seeing in the last few years is there's more focus on storytelling. It's no longer about beautiful pictures. In fact, I remember people, me and the likes of Shivang, we used to have very serious discussions and debates. So we used to often talk about pictures that would be remembered versus beautiful pictures. There are a lot of beautiful pictures. Today, you and I, we browse through the internet, social media. There are, especially our country has got some amazing photographers in our country. So many beautiful pictures. But then in the end of the day, there are only some pictures that probably you and I remember. So,
for example, I think Giri Kavale, the winning jumping leopard, and Sri Sivaram sleeping leopard. A few photographs we remember. Yes,
Yeah, I mean those are like iconic pictures which I think have inspired many photographers.
Yes. And for me, last week and all, I'm interacting with many young photographers, and really I'm happy to know that is really some young photographers like you. They're working on story, not after the beautiful photographs, and really they know the subject. They know what they want to do. So in Hope feature, we are going to have great photographers, and with young age itself, they are getting so many awards. I am impressed seeing their work. So I am happy that we are going good direction. Maybe in future we will be getting more awards. Not to forget about awards, the good work, the subject knowledge, they are really out of way they are going to do. And any advice for photographers to work on out of box, usually they do like kingfisher, leopard, everyone is going Masai Mara, okay. And now everyone is going Borneo because Bojan got award that I want to get award, okay. So why can't they see the new place, new species in the world? We do have lot of unexplored species, photographed species are there. So what's your advice for them, Bojan?
Well, I think you just have to think outside the box. In fact, lately I've started realizing there is a story everywhere. You just need to open our eyes and see stories everywhere. In the sense. It could be a story in your backyard. It could be a story of a lake near your house. You could do a story on the species of that place. I think when you talk about storytelling, it's more about how do you tell the story than just taking pictures. I think once people kind of get the knack of storytelling, then I think directionally you start.
They automatically they go,
your thought process will completely change.
And it reminds me, yesterday Miss Nandi, Sri Nandi, editor-in-chief of Sevas was telling, you have to research something before photographing. Just simply go and take photograph. Just research some before going to shoot and all. No? And they gave good advice. And you had been to Indian forest before. Jayaprakash. Now any plan of exploring Indian forest? நம்ம ஊரை கொஞ்சம் பார்க்கலாம், நம்ம ஊரை கொஞ்சம் போட்டோ எடுக்கலாம்னு ஒரு ஆசை இருக்கா இல்ல ஒரு
இல்ல I mean
sorry guys.
Kavini has been kind of home. I mean for probably a long time I didn't even I mean most people didn't know me, I didn't know them. I was a loner, and most of my photography is by myself. I usually don't go in large groups. I'm traveling most of the time alone.
Wherever you go, India, everyone knows. Thanks to Geographic Award 2017 and Orangutan also. Okay.
So I have some favorite places. Jim Corbett is another favorite place. I would love to go again and again. By far, probably if I have to pick one place that I would love to go again and again is Kabini. I don't know what's it with that place. I just love that forest. I have some wonderful memories. I think I remember I spent about 20 days in Kabini, hoping to see the Black Panther at one time.
Yeah, yet to see it.
No, lucky, and I didn't see. No, I didn't see the Black Panther.
Okay.
But I think 2017, 2018, one day just before the Nature in Focus event, me and Giri were there with another friend who was a speaker who had come from the US.
Okay.
One afternoon, completely dry afternoon, we were just sitting there, completely bored. You can't even hear a bird chirping. It was like a dead forest.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden, Giri says, "JP, udhar dekhna." And I looked there, and
The beauty was
black,
walking, yeah.
the beauty was walking towards us.
I saw the photograph, yes, yes. Okay,
So-
guys, I think, Jayaprakash, we will take questions from viewers. Guys,
Sure,
shoot your
sure.
questions. If you would like to ask any questions regarding photography, wildlife photography, conservation, please shoot. Hi, Vignesh. Yeah, he already explained the experience on Black Panther sighting. Yeah. Hi, Navneet. Any questions, guys? It's all cleared. Yeah, tips for low light condition.
Well-
Don't shoot.
I mean, I would say shoot. I would say shoot.
I'm just
I would.
joking, yeah.
Okay. Now, I would say shoot because I think everybody's talking about low noise and too much noise. I think the beauty of some of the low light pictures is the noise. I don't know why people are scared of noise. So some of the most beautiful pictures I feel are the pictures in low light.
Okay.
There's more atmosphere. There's more mood in those pictures. Compared to pictures in good light. So I mean, don't worry. Just shoot.
Shoot. The next question, Mr. Atul Verma is asking: do you ever shoot in Amazon jungles?
Not yet. I think just last month I was talking to somebody. Hopefully, maybe next year or next to next year, I would probably like to go there.
Why did you think? Someone is asking. Why did you think of going for orangutans, which got coveted awards? Why you choose orangutans?
Not specifically orangutans. I mean, if I have to be honest, somewhere in 2016, I had been to the Singapore Zoo.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of zoos, but this is probably one of the finest zoos I've ever visited.
Okay.
They had some amazing species, and that's where I first time saw a live orangutan.
Okay.
And a lot of other species, some exotic species from Southeast Asia, the red shank langur, the grey shank langur, the gibbons, and all of those. So I was so fascinated. I kept going back to the zoo several times just to see them.
Okay.
I think more than the orangutan, I think the proboscis monkey and there's another monkey called the red shank langur, which kind of caught my attention. So then I came back home and I said, how nice it will be if I could actually go and see them in the wild.
Wow, okay.
But unfortunately, all these places in Southeast Asia, there's no structured tourism. There are no wildlife tours. There are no wildlife tourism. So it took a lot of time sitting on the computer, writing emails to people, reaching out to people, asking if they could help me go some. I remember, in fact, some of the species I photographed in Vietnam. It took me 9 months before a guy who had done some work from WWF on that species, he responded to me after 9 months, saying I can help. So a lot of time spent on the computer trying to find people,
Find the
contacts,
research,
so I
okay,
could, go there. Yeah.
Next, Sataguru is asking, any primates your favorite now? Or primates are your favorite now?
Well, obviously the orangutan.
Okay.
I think the orangutans have kind of changed my life, both from a career standpoint and both as a person.
Yes.
Humbled me. There's so much I've learned. So yeah, I mean, definitely the orangutans.
Okay, yeah. Guys, any other questions? And one more, I remember, Bojan, have you published any photo books about orangutans?
Well, I mean, it's 3 years ago I started my journey. My journey is still on because I wanted to photograph some of the most highly endangered primates across Southeast Asia. Some of them are very, very, very hard to find. I've spent several $1,000s and spent a lot of time, and I've still not been able to see them. So I have approximately 4 or 5 species. So hopefully, if I'm able to capture, probably in a year and a half, I will probably publish a book on primates.
That's good. And someone is asking today news, tiger got affected coronavirus. So is this going to affect your wildlife photography? Guys, it's not
Well,
only affect Mr. Jayaprakash wildlife photography. Not every whole world. Yeah, please share your views.
well,
Yeah.
I personally don't think it's going to affect so many animals in the wild. One, because I think this particular case, if you see, it's really not a wild tiger.
Yeah, it's
I
a zoo
think,
tiger.
yeah, so probably it's going to happen in the zoos where you have zookeepers working in close proximity with the tigers or any species.
Yes,
If
yes.
you look at places like Borneo, they are very strict. There are rescue centers where, for example, if I want to visit a rescue center today in Borneo, I have to stay in quarantine for 10 days in Borneo itself,
Oh,
even
okay.
before I can go and spend time in the rescue center. I have to
Wow,
take
okay.
a chest X-ray. I have to
Okay.
take a AIDS test, and I have to be in face masks when I'm actually spending time with these orangutans in rescue centers.
Wow, okay. Because to save them from
To save
through
them
us.
more than
Yes, yes,
us.
not
Yes,
us. Yeah,
yes.
I know this to save them.
Especially
Yeah.
especially a disease like TB. A lot of
Yes, yes.
primates very easily get TB from
Easily get
humans.
TB. Okay, okay.
So there's a lot of precaution taken. So I think wherever there are humans working in very close proximity to animals, there is a chance. But otherwise, I don't think
It
it's
affect.
going to, yeah, it'll affect wild so
Yeah.
much.
Maybe have you, yeah. Someone is asking, have you been to BR Hills?
No, no.
Okay.
I would love to
I
go
think
someday though.
good person. Okay, okay.
There are too many places to
So
go and
any other
see.
other than photography, other thing, what was your hobby? What you do other than this? You want to free with family? Any hobby other than photography?
Well,
Now it's all
I
work,
like.
work.
Well,
You read book also. Please share any books like this lockdown period they can read. Just tell them what they
well,
can do at home, sitting at home.
well,
Suggestion.
lately I've not been reading too many books, but then I've been spending a lot of time online researching some of the species that I want to
Okay.
see. Another thing I do is if I want to go and photograph some species, I first try and spend a lot of time to see if there's already somebody who's done some good work. So that kind of becomes a baseline for us. Go and see some of
Okay.
the pictures they have taken. So that gives you some idea as to what you want to do. And then obviously you want to see how you can take some pictures of the same species in a different perspective that other people have not seen.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, not much of books. I mean, I love remote control cars. You can see I have a lot of
Okay.
remote
Cards
control
again. Okay, okay.
RC cars. So
You
I
still
sometimes
play. இதில்
well,
இது பசங்க விளையாடுறதெல்லாம் நீங்க என்ன வச்சிட்டு இருக்கீங்க?
இல்ல actually
Okay.
இதெல்லாம் initially ஒரு I got it for some experiment because I couldn't afford buying all those remote control photography
Cameras.
equipment.
Okay,
So
okay.
I made my own.
You are talking about Beetle Cam, no? Beetle Cam. Have you ever used
Beetle cam. No,
Okay.
I've not used Beetle cams. I designed my own cams. I use my
Wow.
own cameras to shoot some primates and stuff
Okay.
like that.
And do you use the drone also, Jayaprakash? Do you use
Yeah,
drone?
I use a lot of drones now that I'm shooting some documentaries. The kind of drone perspective is very key to give a 30,000
Different
feet.
from, bird's eye. We can say bird's eye view, yeah.
Yeah, bird's eye view. So, for example, in Vietnam, I was shooting a documentary where two huge mountains, these are limestone mountains, have been destroyed completely for making cement. That used to be prime habitat for some of these langurs in a wetland reserve.
Okay.
So when you're shooting documentaries, it's very difficult to shoot the scale of those things happening unless you go up into the sky.
But
and
do
kind of
they
give
allow,
you-
do they give permission to shoot?
Well, sometimes yes, sometimes no. So it's a little tricky. I think there's one particular place where I applied for some permissions. I'm still waiting.
Okay.
So hopefully I'll get some permission. But again, it's tricky. There are some places where I have to be honest. I have to sneak in and fly. For example, I was trying to get some shots of the palm oil plantations in Indonesia.
Okay.
So usually they will shoot down your drone if they
Yes, as
see a
soon as
drone
you
on
shoot.
the.
They'll shoot. Can you shoot? They can shoot you also.
Yeah, so I was actually on the second river. I was actually sitting in a boat, and
Okay.
I flew it around like 6 o'clock in the morning, hoping that doesn't cause
Great,
any damage to just get some photos
Anyway,
there.
it's a nice pleasure talking to you, Bojan. Okay, and
Thank you so much.
just thought behind you are going to do, and all. It's really good. And I hope we will meet soon. When you come Chennai, just buzz me. And my
Definitely,
all
definitely.
best wishes to you get all the premieres in this. I think next 1 or 2 years. Okay, just say some good few bye words to our fans and viewers, and then we will.
Thank you so much. I mean, to all the viewers, this is my first Insta Live ever. So hopefully what we spoke was of some use. Hopefully you got some guidance, some use.
Definitely. We are talking some good.
Yeah, if you guys have more questions, hit me up or hit ma'am on our Instagrams. We're always happy to
Guys,
help.
you can send message to Mr. Bojan in Instagram. When he is free, he can reply. Same here also. And it was lovely session, guys. Nice. Thank you for joining us, both of us, and we thank you. Have a good evening, guys. Thank you, Bojan.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. Stay home. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye. Please be safe and be at home. Thank
Absolutely.
you. Bye.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.